the world's largest island, yet also one of the quietest. On maps, it appears almost entirely white, a place many people imagine as nothing more than endless ice. But beneath that white surface lies a human story that stretches back thousands of years. Today, we will explore the history of Greenland step by step, from the first humans to modern governance, examining how the decisions of those in power shaped everyday life and how people have survived in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Greenland's story begins long before states, flags, or borders ever existed. Around 5,000 years ago, the first groups of people crossed from Asia into North America and eventually reached what we now know as Greenland. These people were the ancestors of the Inuit. For them, Greenland was not a land to be conquered, but a nature to be understood. Their lives were built around hunting. Hunting seals, whales, and fish was not just about survival. It was the foundation of culture and social order. Their system of governance did not resemble a modern state. Decisions were guided by the wisdom and experience of elders. Those who understood nature best were the ones whose voices carried the most weight. This way of life continued for centuries, with very little change. Greenland's people lived largely isolated from the rest of the world. But this isolation did not leave them behind. On the contrary, it allowed them to develop an exceptionally sophisticated way of living in harmony with nature. That balance, however, would be challenged in the 10th century when an encounter occurred that would alter Greenland's destiny. The Viking leader Eric the Red, exiled from Iceland, reached the coasts of Greenland and became the first person to introduce the island to the European world. To attract settlers, he named the land Greenland, meaning the Green Land. Vikings settled there, established farms, attempted animal husbandry, and brought Christianity with them. For a time, two very different ways of life coexisted in Greenland: the Inuit way, shaped by harmony with nature, and the European-centered Viking lifestyle. But the Vikings tried to reshape nature rather than adapt to it. As the climate grew harsher, agriculture became increasingly difficult, and connections with Europe weakened. By the 14th and 15th centuries, Viking settlements had completely disappeared. Their disappearance left behind one of the most important lessons in Greenland's history. Survival in this land depends not on resisting nature, but on living in balance with it. After the Vikings vanished, Greenland faded from Europe's attention for centuries. Inuit communities continued living according to their traditions until the 18th century. In 1721, the Danish missionary Hans Egede arrived in Greenland, hoping to find the descendants of the lost Vikings and to Christianize the region. Instead, he encountered the Inuit population. This moment marked the beginning of a new era for Greenland. Denmark officially took control of Greenland and began ruling it as a colony. The administration was based in Denmark, and Greenland was kept largely closed off from the outside world. Trade was controlled entirely by Danish monopolies. While this system protected Greenlanders from extreme exploitation, it also limited their economic and political development. Danish authorities viewed Greenlanders as a people who needed protection, but this paternalistic approach excluded them entirely from decision-making processes. As the world changed in the early 20th century, Greenland could not remain untouched. During World War II, Greenland's strategic importance increased dramatically. While Denmark was under occupation, Greenland effectively came under the protection of the United States. American military bases were established and airports were built. For Greenland's people, this period marked their first major encounter with the modern global system. After the war, Denmark pursued rapid modernization policies in Greenland. However, these changes were implemented without consulting the local population. Small settlements were shut down, and people were forcibly relocated to larger towns. Traditional hunting lifestyles were disrupted, and family structures weakened. Danish authorities realized too late that these well-intentioned modernization policies had caused deep social problems. Alcoholism, unemployment, and identity crises increased significantly during this period. The 1960s and 1970s became decades of political awakening in Greenland. As young Greenlanders traveled to Denmark for education, they began questioning their identity and demanding greater rights. These pressures led to a historic turning point in 1979, when Greenland gained home rule and established its own parliament. From that moment on, decisions about education, healthcare, and internal affairs were increasingly made by Greenlandic leaders. In 2009, these powers were expanded even further. Through a referendum, Greenland gained broader self-government rights. The Greenlandic language became the official language, and Greenlanders gained formal recognition as a distinct people. Today, Greenland is governed by its own prime minister and local parliament, while Denmark retains authority over defense and foreign policy. In the present day, Greenland's capital city, Nuuk, looks vastly different from the past, with modern buildings and cultural institutions. Yet beneath this modern appearance lies a deeply rooted tradition. Fishing remains the backbone of the economy, while hunting continues as a symbol of cultural identity rather than mere survival. Greenlandic leaders pursue economic independence while remaining keenly aware of the need to protect their fragile environment. Today, Greenland's future is being reshaped by climate change. Melting ice is opening new shipping routes and revealing valuable underground resources. At the same time, these changes threaten a way of life that has endured for thousands of years. Once again, Greenland faces a difficult question it has encountered throughout its history. Development or preservation? Progress or protection of nature and culture? Today, Greenland is no longer significant only because of its past, but because of its strategic position in the world. Located extremely close to the Arctic, Greenland acts as a natural bridge between North America and Europe. This gives it exceptional military, economic, and geopolitical importance. During the Cold War, this importance became clear for the first time. The United States, in particular, used military bases in northern Greenland as critical early warning and defense systems. Monitoring ballistic missiles and air traffic made Greenland an indispensable observation point in the Northern Hemisphere. This reality demonstrated that Greenland was not just part of Denmark, but a key element in global security dynamics. Today, Greenland's strategic importance has entered a new phase. Due to climate change, Arctic ice is melting year by year. This process is making previously inaccessible sea routes and natural resources available. New Arctic shipping routes could significantly reduce travel time and costs in global trade, and Greenland lies at the very center of these emerging pathways. In addition, Greenland's underground resources are a major reason for growing international interest. Rare earth elements, uranium, oil, and natural gas make Greenland a strategic target, not only militarily, but economically as well. These materials are critical for modern technology and defense industries, which is why China, the United States, and European countries closely monitor developments on the island. This growing interest has made the relationship between Denmark and Greenland increasingly complex. Greenland seeks economic self-sufficiency while also trying to maintain balance among powerful global actors. Every decision carries not only economic consequences, but cultural and environmental ones as well. For Greenlanders, this land is not simply a resource reserve. It is a homeland shaped by thousands of years of history. Today, Greenlandic leaders face a difficult question. Should underground resources be exploited to achieve economic independence? Or should nature and traditional ways of life be preserved through a slower, more sustainable path? This question is a modern reflection of Greenland's long history. The struggle the Vikings once faced with adaptation has now returned in the form of global powers and modern economics. Greenland may have a small population, but its global impact is immense. Every decision made there has the potential to affect not only the island's people, but the future of the Arctic, and even the world itself. Greenland is no longer just a land of ice. It has become one of the quiet yet powerful actors on the global political stage. Greenland's story is not just the story of a country, it is the story of humanity's relationship with nature. Some tried to dominate nature and disappeared. Others chose harmony and endured. Today, Greenland stands at a crossroads, guided by the lessons of its past and the choices of its future. If you enjoyed this documentary journey, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next story, from another corner of the world.